Hillary Clinton may be embroiled in another scandal. The presidential hopeful has amassed record levels of donations for her campaign, but some of the money's coming from an unexpected source: residents of New York's Chinatown. According to the Los Angeles Times, residents of this building at 88 Broadway and others like it on Manhattan's Lower East Side have been stuffing Mrs. Clinton's pockets with donations. The Times tried to track down a resident of this building on 44 Henry Street who reportedly donated $1,000 to the campaign, but when the reporters asked residents of the building, they said they'd never heard of him. The Clinton camp responded saying, quote, "Our own compliance process flagged a number of questionable donations and took the appropriate steps to be sure they were legally given. In cases where we couldn't confirm that, the money was returned," unquote. Joining us now, Fox News political analyst Kirsten Powers and Republican strategist Katie McFarland. Kirsten, what is it about all these dishwashers and waiters in Chinatown who've never voted, never shown any previous interest in American politics that's got them so enthused about Mrs. Clinton's campaign?
Well, I think it's the fact that she, first of all, as you know, she's a senator from New York, and New York City is in New York. And after 9/11, she was very active in this community, helping them. They were affected by the 9/11 attacks, as Chinatown is in downtown Manhattan. And so she has developed a relationship with them, and she's known to them. And, you know, the Clintons are, you know, to them, the people, you know, former President Clinton is a rock star to them, as for many people. And, you know, I think that she has a long-standing relationship
and that
with
accounts
them.
for the difference between the $24,000 that John Kerry raised in total from Chinatown in the 2004 campaign,
yeah, I think
and the $400 grand that Mrs. Clinton gets from just
John
one...
Kerry's not from New York. So, you know, we're not talking about a place that Mrs. Clinton doesn't have, or Senator Clinton doesn't have a relationship with. She has a relationship with Chinatown because they are her constituents.
So you're saying all this with a fabulous poker face. You honestly think there's nothing in the least bit suspicious about minimum wage workers being maxed out on Clinton campaign donations?
Well, what are you suggesting? You're suggesting if a person is a dishwasher, we're supposed to means test them, that they're not allowed to give to this candidate?
No, not at all. I'm all in favor. But generally speaking,
honestly, Mark, I'll tell you, I honestly think all this condescension that's been going on, I've been listening to it all day, about these dishwashers, like this is not any kind of, you know, honorable way to be earning a living, I find it a little disturbing.
No, I'm not. I've got nothing against dishwashers. Minimum wage workers and students gave a lot of money to Howard Dean, for example, but they gave it in small donations.
But this is their choice, and the fact that these people decide that they want to, you know, take money, whether it's their savings or whatever they've done, and give it to Senator Clinton, that is their decision. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing illegal that's been alleged here. So I don't really understand why.
It's a smell test.
But everything about the Clintons that hasn't passed the smell test since the 90s, in the end, hasn't gone anywhere. And Kirsten seems to...
It may not go anywhere either, but I think it's symptomatic of a much bigger problem, which is the whole thing is awash with money. Lobbyists are giving money. People in Chinatown are giving money. Is it their money originally? Maybe, maybe not. But it's just this massive accumulation of money in the hopes of buying favoritism. It turns off the average guy on the street. It's just disgusting.
But these are the average guys in the street.
I think it doesn't pass the smell test. You know, where are these people getting thousands of dollars to donate to campaigns? I'm not sure. I wouldn't allege anything. I just think it's a little suspicious that someone who makes $10,000, $12,000 a year is going to tithe to Hillary Clinton. I don't think so.
Yeah, but isn't the big lesson here? Look, the Clintons learned this 15 years ago. If you have one scandal that can destroy you. Right. If you have 1,000 scandals, it becomes part of your personality. Nobody cares.
No, I think that the critical thing to look at Mrs. Clinton about, and the more interesting story in some ways this week, was the one about women voters. Are Republican women voters, are they going to vote for Hillary Clinton? The Democrats claim that a quarter of Republican women voters are going to...
What I'd like to know is, KT, where's the scandal?
The scandal
What's
of
the
what?
scandal
The
here? What law was broken? What was done
illegally? There probably wasn't a law broken.
So what are you alleging here?
I am alleging that the whole system stinks, and it doesn't.
And that's Hillary Clinton's fault?
Everybody's fault.
See, but you want to pin it on Hillary Clinton.
I want to pin it on everybody.
Right, so it really doesn't have anything to do with Hillary Clinton.
I think that they're the most egregious example of it.
Because they're raising the most money? Because they're doing better than any other candidate? Because maybe these dishwashers want health care?
The money is discussed. The average guy in the street is horrified. $1 billion.
But you're talking about a system. We're talking about two different things here. We want to talk about changing the system, something John McCain tried to do?
Absolutely.
Or do we want to say, look at this evil person, Hillary Clinton, and how dare people give to her
They're
campaign?
just exploiting the system.
That's what Mark would like to have.
But when you say that it doesn't pass the smell test, then you are alleging something.
But I run for public office. Here's what happens.
But you are just admit that you're alleging something. I mean, when you say it doesn't pass the smell
when
test.
you see an enormous amount of money coming from some place where people don't have that kind of money.
You're being very vague here. So if you really got an accusation to make against Hillary Clinton, lay it on the table and tell us what it is.
I think, and I don't know that Hillary Clinton does it, but a number of candidates are receiving money.
Who's the number? Who?
I'm not going to name names.
We're naming names. We're focusing this on Hillary Clinton. So if you've got an accusation against her, I'd like to know what it is.
I have an accusation against the whole system. The whole system is broken. It stinks. It's awash with money.
Right.
And even if these people are legitimately giving their life savings to Hillary Clinton's campaign, isn't there something wrong with the system?
You know some of the people mentioned in this L.A. Times story. For example, they don't give you the whole story. A key figure, for example, helping to secure Asian support for the Clintons, a woman named Chung Sito, who you happen to know.
Well, I know
they
her
don't
very
tell you the
well.
whole story about this.
They portray her as this kind of shady person who's like lurking in the background, who was born in China. You know, she used to run the New York State Democratic Party. She's run campaigns in New York City. She's a very well-known person. You know, I spoke to her about these fundraisers. I mean, this is not the way it's being portrayed. So much of that article is so inaccurate. You know, portraying this as like a slum.
Yeah, I don't like the raised eyebrow idea that because if you're not a person of means, somehow you're not supposed to give to a campaign, can't give to a campaign. People, don't sometimes save up money to get someone in office. And that Hillary Clinton was active in the Chinatown community ever since she's been a senator. She was on top of the SARS case. She has been very involved with the community. One of the few candidates who actually went and visited Chinatown, which is why she's got support
It's just the whole system where we're going to raise $1 billion is going to be spent on this campaign. I mean, I was in Washington a couple of weeks ago, and I went to one of those lobbyist cocktail parties, and you know what happens? The lobbyists hand you a card and say, if you're going to run for something, let me know and I'll help.
And let's change the system for everybody, and let's not single out one candidate who's part of a larger system.
I think you just
Katie's being way too bipartisan there.
You don't want her to be. Gets Mark upset when you're bipartisan. He just wants you to slam the Democrat.
The Clintons are experts at raising money, and the Clintons are experts at
you resent
spending
that.
money.
Why should you resent that?
I just think the system is broken, and to the extent...
Wait, what do you want to do to fix it?
Well, I can tell you one thing. Hillary Clinton is not working to change the system.
She's working to get elected like every other candidate, like Rudy Giuliani is, like John McCain is, like Fred Thompson is, and like Mitt Romney is.
I must say I really admire John McCain because of the efforts he made to limit campaign
and that's heard of among Republicans.
That is heard of among. The best system would be to shine the light on all of this. I think it would be really fascinating to see, okay, here's the campaign contribution you take from this industry or that interest group. Where are your votes, Mrs. Senator or Mr. Congressman?
You're praising McCain, who came under fire from Republicans, but Kirsten, this is a hit piece on Hillary
Of course
Clinton.
it is. No, and everybody, again, I mean, there's all these sort of veiled accusations against her, and then they don't want to come out and just say it. And the suggestion is that something illegal happened, perhaps. Yet nothing in that article alleges that anything illegal happened.
It's just
like, oh, it's Chinese people, and they live in an area that's too poor, and they're not allowed to be giving money to
We got to run. We thank you both very much. Coming up, what you don't hear from